I'm not going to tell you like millions of videos to buy the DJI Mic Mini or the DJI Mic 3. The short answer is yes. And I'm not sponsored by DJI. Not sponsored, Klaxon. What this video is about how to save money using the DJI system, how to do it more cheaply, hence the name Hard Up Hiker. From the £19 or £15 for the adapter, you can get an adapter for £2 for the Mic Mini, and how to cheaply use the Mic 3 without spending hundreds of pounds with the new mobile receiver, and what bundles are specifically good for hikers, but this video is for all creators. If this video saved you any money, please click like and comment and share this video. If you want to subscribe, I would ask you to check out my video from Dartmoor and see if you like that kind of content first before subscribing, because that's more what I do. The thing about being an outdoors creator is you need to have a microphone. You could use the microphone in your camera, and I do use that, but it's not a good idea most of the time, especially when you're next to a busy road like now in my garden. So through the years, I've used quite a few microphones. I've got the little tiny Boya that I started with over 2 years ago. I then moved on to the Boya M1V. I famously lost at the Devil's Dyke. I lost one of the microphones. I broke what they call the dead cat in the windshield. You can't get replacements, which is one of the problems of the cheaper microphones, is they don't do replacements. Then I moved on to the Neewer CM28, which I've been using for a long time. Pretty good value. The only thing is it's quite bulky. It's also temperamental. Again, I don't think you can get replacements for the windshields. It has a charging case and that kind of thing. But the thing is, all of these microphones are now more expensive than the DJI range. And I think the DJI range is a much better deal, especially the Mic Mini. I'd like to thank Molly for introducing me to the DJI Mic Mini. I think the DJI Mic Mini is probably the best for hikers or people who are doing outdoors work. It is so small. I think it's like 10 grams, and I think the Mic 3 is slightly more. I should have looked this up. I know, my usual thing. Incredibly light, and I think this is probably the best, especially if you're starting out on your YouTube journey. I hate that phrase. You're starting out to create content, or if you are wanting something that's very light, then you should get this. But I got mine with the transmitter for £46, but currently I think it's 42 for this deal. But this isn't the best bundle deal for hikers at the moment. There is an even lighter way of doing this combination with exactly the same quality. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This has improved my audio greatly, but one of the problems is this transmitter is just so large, and it sort of sticks out. And we know what happened going over a stile and then dropping the phone, and how this adapter, not DJI one, but the Neewer one, just broke. I'm a bit wary of big transmitters like this. And also they use a lot of power. This has to be charged up. This is great for those working with a big camera setup or at home or not working with their phone. It's useful for extendability, but not so if you're doing run and gun mobile work, or you're doing long distance work with just a mobile phone. It's not the best deal. They have currently is they have two of these and the mobile receiver, I think for something like £40, and that is the best deal at the moment. And we'll talk about the mobile receiver, which I can't film because I'm using it at the moment. One of the problems with all of these systems nowadays is they often just come with a USB-C, because the newer iPhones are USB-C only. Now I've got an old iPhone which uses the lightning port. This little tiny adapter, usually about 19 quid. DJI, why are your adapters half the price of the bundle kits of the microphone? You know, it's like ridiculous. If you have a USB-C, you're laughing. Or, and this is just for the DJI Mic Mini, you can get this, a audio OTG adapter. OLAF, I think this is the brand of this one, from Temu, AliExpress, and that costs like 1 to 2 quid. I will do some tests and show you that the audio quality is exactly the same with this. Because I had the same problem with the Boya microphone, it works with those as well. So the 2 Boya receivers I've got, so I can just use that. And so that means you don't have to get a new receiver for any microphone apart from the mobile receiver of the DJI. But you have to get one that specifically does audio in, like microphone in, OTG, like the OLAF. I'll have a link down below. And on to the other way of saving money, which is the DJI Mobile Receiver. This is £14, and this is a bargain. And you can now get it as a bundle with the Mic Minis, or you can buy it separately and then add, as I've done, add the Mic 3, because I already had the receiver. And I wish I'd known about this. It wasn't available or out in this country. In the UK, you can get it on the DJI store as of recording this, but it sort of comes in and out of stock. And I really would grab one of these. It's really good. Wonderful thing about the mobile receiver is you can mix and match microphones. So you can have a Mic 3 and a Mic Mini or a Mic 2 connected. So not DJI Mic 1, the original one, to the same receiver, which you can't do with any of the receivers. That Mic Mini receiver, I can't actually connect a Mic 2 or a Mic 3 to it. So this way you can have a mixture of microphones. What's on it is you've got the linking button and the power in. You can actually switch the noise reduction from O, which is off, to low and high. So you don't have to fiddle with the settings on your phone, and it switches both mics simultaneously. So you've got two mics paired to this. They both switch to noise reduction mode. I think that's better than the standard Mic Mini receiver. And I'm not really a massive fan of the dial on the Mic Mini receiver for the gain. I always switch it to the wrong setting anyway. What I wish there was an on button. We'll save some problems with the adapters. But apart from that, this works really well. For the moment, I've got this ridiculous daisy-chained adapter until I find a shorter one from Temu. I've ordered a couple of variants. Hopefully I'll find a similar one, or I might have to cave in and get the DJI adapter. I'd rather not. But this works. So it's basically a USB to USB-C and then a Lightning to USB. And you have to get the OTG adapters, not the audio ones. This is why this is crazy, is that the audio ones work with this, but they don't power it. And these ones aren't specifically audio OTG devices. I mean, they might work with microphones, but they aren't really specifically audio ones. So for some reason, this needs to power on using a standard OTG. I think it is what it is. Yeah, my fault for buying an iPhone 14, really. You might be wondering, is it the same quality? Well, for the Mic Mini, yes. I've done side-by-side recordings, and I'll do one now with the existing transmitter as well, and so we can do a side-by-side. I haven't got the transmitter for the Mic 3. It's certainly better than connecting with Bluetooth directly. The only kind of drawback, you have to either get it into blue mode, where you double-click this linking item, to connect those kind of mics, or it's in green mode, which is for the Mic Mini. The Mic Mini is exactly the same. I'm going to test this, but I don't think the actual connection is via Bluetooth. It certainly sounds very good on the phone, so I don't think it is. But yes, the green mode is the Mini mode, and the blue mode is for other mics, or if you're mixing mics, it will be for the Mini as well. Just to show you, the quality is the same for the Mic Mini with the mobile receiver as well as the original receiver. This is with the original transmitter and the Mic Mini. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So this is using the mobile receiver, and you're currently hearing the DJI Mic Mini. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And you're hearing the DJI Mic 3 on the rich voice tone preset thing. And that's the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. This is the official adapter. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So we're on the OLAF adapter at the moment. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is the official adapter better, or is the sort of £1 to £2 Temu AliExpress add-on, is that just as good? In my tests, I couldn't hear a difference at all. The only other question I have, and I'm going to test this now, the distance, because it's using the blue mode, which is usually the Bluetooth mode. But I've heard that that's just for pairing, but the actual transmission is through wireless connection for the actual audio. So it should have 400 meters range. The Mic 2 has 250, and the Mic Mini also has 400 meters range. So I'm going down to the local park and I'm going to walk away. So we'll find out. Because if I get over 33 meters, which is the limit of Bluetooth 5.3, it should then prove that it is using the wireless for the connection. So let's see how far this can go. Down that way, near the pavilion, is 100 meters. About where the bag is 30 meters. So if these are Bluetooth based, it should cut out about 33 meters. See if this works. And we'll keep talking all the way through so you can hear if I cut out. It's all a bit strange. I probably could fall over. So to about here, I'm heading backwards because often if there's an interruption of sight, so if there's like a body or a thing in the way, you won't get as long a distance. But so the question is, are both mics working at the sort of 33 meter level? And also we can test if you turn around and whether it cuts out, whether either mic cuts out, I don't know. So, and whether it cuts out, I don't know. See? Even the best mics cut out when you do that because just your body acts as a shield. 50 meter mark, I think. I didn't have lots of things to measure out all the different distances, but yeah, that's about double, so it's probably 60 meter, 80 meter, and this is probably around the 90 meter as we get closer to the pavilion, and it should be around the 100 meter mark. So this must be about the 100 meter mark. So hey, can you hear me on the Mic 3 or the Mic Mini? I don't know. I think that's over 100 meters. Hello, doggo. Hello. Got to meet some nice doggos. I'll see how that did. So this is with the Mic Mini, and we'll see how that does. My experience is that the connection on to the mobile receiver is oddly more stable, which it doesn't make sense. You'd think the original receiver would be better. I've had weird popping on the original receiver when I did the side-by-side at home. It seems like, oddly, the original receiver can get more interference. So this is at the 33, sort of 33-ish meter mark. But yeah, how will it do? How will it do? My return, but my back against, my back, I shouldn't turn my back against you. If I turn my back, how does it go? How does it go? It should be fine at this because this has a limit of 400 meters, which I don't know if I trust. But this is using wireless, a little different connection. The green connection, not easy being green. 50 meter mark. Keeping an eye out for people running and stealing my phone. I might have to do the fastest sprint ever. I would say this is about the 80-90 mark. About the 100 meter or so. I don't dare go any further. It looks like both mics are really good at distance. Just the Bluetooth thing is a misnomer. So I'm in the park. Yeah, I've finished doing my little distance things. It looks like it's about to chuck it down. Amazing! It did actually, from what I saw of the footage on the phone, it looks like one or both of the mics definitely gave audio up to 100 meters. When we're actually listening with headphones, whether it cuts out anywhere for the Mic Mini or the Mic 3, but certainly something was making noise all the way to up to 100 meters, even in the blue mode on the mobile receivers. So that suggests it's not Bluetooth, it is their own system. The Bluetooth is just how they pair the microphones. That's a bit of research for you. One of the cons of the mobile receiver is you have to unplug it to hear the audio. You can plug in, trains going by, you can plug in an external speaker, I assume maybe headphones, into the USB-C port on it. So, you know, you can also plug power into it, but you can power through your phone through that USB-C on the mobile receiver, but you can also use an external speaker because there's a setting for it. It's a bit of a con that you don't get the audio through the phone speakers when you use that receiver. You do with the original receivers. So you might wonder why I don't use the charging case as well. I use the little pouch. The reason is just extra bulk. The charging case does actually give you a lot more extra time because there's a battery in the case, and so you can do up to, I think, 48 hours with the DJI Mini, and I think it's something like 20 odd hours for the Mic 3, but they're still quite bulky, and I just don't see a point unless you really want to do that. You may as well carry a separate battery which you can use for everything. With those cases, you can only use a charge just for the microphone, whereas at least with a battery you can then use it for your headlamp, your phone, or anything. So it's more universal. You can buy it separately if you want it anyway. And the reason why I got the Mic 3 is I can then do recording on it in case the connection goes down. So that's why I got the Mic 3. But then I've also got the Mic Mini for backup, or for times where it doesn't really matter. It's not a recording. At the moment, I'm recording on the Mic 3, and the audio you're hearing is probably from the Mic 3, and the Mic Mini is kind of doing a guide track, so I can sync them up. You've then got that backup of, you've got the recordings on here, and there have been times where the Neewer recording facility has completely saved my arse because there's been a problem with the connection or come loose or something like that. And that is the problem with the Mic Mini. The Mic Mini doesn't have recording in it. If you're recording something like a trip where it's kind of important, can't redo the audio again, rather than in the garden where you could just reshoot it. But if you're actually on a long sort of 100-mile trip or whatever, you want to have backup on the recording side. So that's the reason why I've got the Mic 3. Yeah, the quality is very good with the Mic 3, especially the internal quality. It can record what's called voice presets, so you're hearing the bright mode, and you can record both at once. You can record like the affected voice with the preset and the original, which is what I'm doing at the moment. That is really cool. You can record it 32 bits, which means you can more easily save clipping and issues afterwards. It's a high quality. You can set it to auto record every time, so you can just, you know, have it always recording, which I have at the moment. Time code and lots of other stuff that you probably won't need to use as a hiking outdoors creator, but they're good things to have. It has 8 hours record time for the transmitter. The Mic Mini has the best. I think it's 11.5 hours. Less than 8 hours if you're recording onto the device. I think it's more like 6 or something. If you don't need that feature, definitely go for the Mic Mini. But I would go for the mobile receiver because it's just lighter and easier, and I really don't like having the thing jutting out from the device. That's just too easy for it to be knocked, and you lose the adapter or the device or something breaks. So the settings for this are all in the menu of the phone, which again I find a bit easier to deal with. There is the lights that light up things that are connected, and loves the link and the NR buttons, but most of the nitty-gritty is actually within the menu, and I find that more useful. There is one con of these two smaller microphones versus the DJI Mic 2, is there isn't a USB port on them. So you have to use either a little cradle or the charging case. Or in the case of the Mic 3, to use this little cable, which you can connect to the computer so you can download the recordings. You don't have to use a charging case. You might be able to see they're not compatible. So it's a shame. It would be really cool if there was one cable for both, so I don't have to carry both of these. And I'm not a fan of like special connectors because you can just easily lose them, and if you lose them on a trip, then obviously the microphone is useless. You can't use it anymore. The other one is the Mic 3 doesn't have 3.5mm in, so you can't use lav microphones and that kind of things. I don't generally do that, so it's not a massive problem for me, but some people might find that a deal breaker. The special connector, I did think long and hard. There was a reason why I went with the Mic 3, is it's a 32 gig inbuilt recordings versus I think it's 8 gig on the Mic 2, and the size. You know, you can see that it's almost the same size as the Mic Mini. Bigger battery, longer recording time. It's a better microphone apart from those two things. If you want a USB-C port, then go for the Mic 2, but it's more like the newer microphones, the CM28s. It's a bigger, chunkier microphone. So I hope this has become useful for you. If it has, please click like and comment and share this video. This is quite unusual. I don't usually do videos like this, especially about microphones and that kind of thing. I will ask you one thing. If you are interested in subscribing, please look at the videos on screen now and have a look at them first, and then subscribe if you're interested in my hiking vlogs and my trips, which is what I mostly do on this channel. So I hope you're well, and I'll speak to you soon.